All right, let's move on to our next panel discussion. And our panel discussion is all about food fraud prevention, smarter, safer, and resilient food safety. I would now like to request our panelists to kindly join us on the stage, requesting Mr. Ranjeet Kaur, Head Scientific and Regulatory Affairs, Mars Wrigley. Next, I would now like to request Mr. Manav Malhotra, Head Quality and Regulatory, Bimbo Bakeries, India. Requesting Mr. Upendra Singh, Senior GM Operations, Bikaner Wala Foods. Heartiest welcome, sir. Can we have a big round of applause? Next, Dr. Neelu Khurana, Head QA and Regulatory, Haldiram Snacks Food. Moving on, Dr. Dheeraj Mishra, Projects and Engineering Leads, India EM, Mondelez India Foods. Heartiest welcome. Moving on, we have Mr. Charanjeev Singh, Head of Consumer Quality, Nestle India. Can we have a big round of applause for all the panelists who are joining us? Next, Mr. Sanket, Wagmare Program Manager, Sustainable Sourcing and Sustainability Services, Peterson Solutions Limited. Heartiest welcome. Next on the panel, we have Mr. Navneet Mehta, Director QAC, Kandhari Group, Coca-Cola India FBO. And Mr. Navneet Mehta is going to moderate this session as a moderator. I would like to request Mr. Navneet to kindly take the session forward. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I hope I am audible. So this being the last panel discussion of the day, I have my colleagues who are like the constellation of some of the greatest experts in the Indian food industry. So I'm looking forward to moderate this session. Moderating is the easier part. So I'm actually banking on their expertise to really illuminate us with their thoughts and ideas on current situation and the way things lie ahead of us. I can just should I make a request? Since we are not able to face each other, if you can just make a small curve so that we will be able to interact also better with each other. Somehow they have really put us in a straight-jacketed straight line. Okay, so just to set the context, the topic is food fraud prevention. And when we are talking of food fraud preventions, and we all come from reputed organizations, and we can assure very emphatically that none of us are into the business of food fraud. So what we are going to talk is how our organizations and the organizations which we have worked or interacted with are building capabilities or the opportunities to ensure that our products are having the right kind of controls and testing, and thereby the food fraud does get detected. If you look at the definition of food fraud, and I'm picking up the GFSI definition, any deliberate or intentional substitution, addition, tampering, or misrepresentation of food ingredients, food packaging or labeling, product information, or false or misleading statements about a product for economic gain that could impact consumer health. So it covers the entire gamut of misrepresentation from the consumer's point of view. If you look at some of the biggest food fraud which we have faced, I don't know how many of you remember, and I was in Coca-Cola those days. In 2008, there was a huge fervor in China when melamine was illegally added to the milk products to falsify the protein content. And it really became a big issue, and we all started scurrying around testing for melamine content. Similarly, in 2013, in Japan, malathion was added to frozen food by one of the disgruntled employee. And then again, it became a huge scoring point in Japan. Back home recently, many of you would have heard on TV or seen in the newspaper reports about watermelon, people dying consuming watermelon. And what has come out is that it was like infected by rat poison. The study or the investigation is still on, but we still are unsure whether it was a deliberate food fraud or it is something which was a supply chain issue. If we look at what is happening, the WHO study of 2020 says that an estimated 600 million people, almost 1 in 10 persons in the world, fall ill after consuming contaminated food. And in fact, 4.2 lakhs die every year. Therefore, it is important that we really deliberate on this topic and explore what are the various opportunities and the emerging ideas which can be really brought to table today. Let me start with our curtain raiser with Dr. Neelu Khurana. So, doctor, what I would like to ask you, and that food, from the food fraud perspective, how do you see digitalization and artificial intelligence reshaping food industry's ability to detect, prevent, and respond to food fraud and adulteration?
Good evening and namaskar, all of you. Welcome to the Food Safety Summit 2025, and thanks to Synnex for inviting me over here as a panelist. And thank you, Navneet, for putting up that question. That helps me in setting up the context, and I would surely try to make this more engaging and relevant. I would not give lecture to any one of you. I think there are more than 50,000 brain are sitting over here who have done extensive research on this topic. So when it comes to food fraud, so for Indians and globally, food is an emotion. Food is not just, having something and eating. It is a kind of emotion. And when we talk of emotion, the trust comes automatically. And we, in the processed food industry, it becomes highly imperative and responsible to ensure that whatever is being packed in the product is what we are trying to, deliver to the consumer. And wherein the food fraud over a period of years has, I would say the industry has been combating this battle since ages. And now we have come to a level where we are trying to penetrate deeper into this, and how AI and digitalization now slowly and gradually, they are daily evolving and helping us in identifying these I would say, the defects, intentional, unintentional, into the food industry. So, in a manufacturing setup, prima facie, there are three main things which are very important for any QA. And as a QA head, I would say first is prevention. So coming from, from the small scale testing of a lab, taking of the sample, to coming to a scale of data available to you where you can easily identify what could be the potential fraud or what could be the potential deficiency into this product and how you can identify that. Second, coming to the early detection from the product out in the market, and then having that recall and coming to know that gap has happened, having a very productive approach rather than a reactive approach. Third is the communication of the response. Recalling any batch or collecting any batch number which took from days to weeks or even a month, especially when it is offshore. Now coming back to, within 2 hours or within a minute, you can see where all this product has gone. So this I would summarize as a part of AI and the digitalization which has come into play. Coming to the real picture, how industry is using it, I'll quote some relevant examples, which of course some people might already be doing and could be of help for other people in the industry. So I'll take one recent example of at Haldiram, I'm sure many of you would be fond of our bhujiyas. And we use our own spices. And among those spices, there are some ingredients which are prone to, pathogen or the adulteration. So we deployed, installed some machine in-house and which could differentiate between the actual spices. And you must have heard about, the plastic cumin and XYZ thing. And since that is something which is the differentiator for Haldiram in the market, our taste and the quality of the product. That is one tool which we have practically used in-house and helps us in differentiating. Whatever spices we are using is real, including the detection of the pathogen, which would generally take 5 to 6 days when the raw material arrives. And now within from 4 hours to 18 hours, we are able to make out whether the raw material which has arrived in-house and which would be used as a sprinkler, whether that is free of any kind of a risk or not. Second, coming to the detection, when I would say detection, the detection would be limited to the pathogens, primarily naming few like Listeria, Salmonella, Clostridium, like that. Apart from that, there is a group of bacteria which is EB. Now, detection of EB is also possible through the machines which let you know that what is it that is, spoiling your product. What is it that is leading to, that's in spite of having all the controls in-house, what is this that is leading to kind of spoilage, early spoilage of your product. That is where the power of, I would say, the machine comes into the high sensitivity of the machines that you are using in-house. That is one example. Now, there was one interesting case which happened recently. So, we were using a wheat flour in one of the products, and there was continuously kind of, detection coming into it, which was by the FDA. And we tried all the tests, we tried all the laboratories, and nothing was coming in-house. And with the help of data, digitalization and saying, we studied all the steps, what is happening in the reaction, what reactions are taking place, and what is leading to, build up of that particular product in our finished product. I think that is one of the biggest power of the digitalization, where earlier, you have to do n number of checks and tests, and where not only the time has shortened, it has also given a greater tool and a greater amount of confidence to the QA, is what I feel, on whatever processes that we are holding, whatever processes we are controlling, and the product finally that we are delivering in the market. And now to take this session forward with all the esteemed panelists sitting over here, I would like to, hand over the mic to Navneet to take on to the next colleague, please.
Thanks, Dr. Neeru. So you talked of testing, early detection, communication, and application of digitalization. Let me change gears and move to the space of projects and engineering. So Dr. Dheeraj Mishra, now you have worked for donkeys of years in the space of engineering and projects. So from your knowledge and experience, can you share with us how Indian food industry is adapting to world-class technologies when we are in comparison to other countries in global market? And what does the future look for us?
Yeah, so thank you, Navneet ji. This is very important question for Indian food industry and very relevant to current context of food industry also. But this question is quite wide also, because it is not very easy to adopt world-class technology so easily. So I will put and I will try to summarize things into 2-3 simple ways based on my knowledge, because I worked in food safety, quality function, manufacturing function, and then project function. So based on my knowledge and interlinkage between these functions, I will try to. So first thing, when we are doing certain project or when we are setting up certain world-class lines or something, we need to keep, first thing, we need to set our basics right. So what it means, basics right? Basics right means we need to set right infrastructure. When we are putting up a greenfield project, so we need to start working on layouts. We need to start planning of our drains. We need to start planning on zonings. We need to, because see, there are 2, 3 things. Generally, all good companies, they are doing design review, or some people call gate 1, gate 2, gate 3, gate 4, or some people call it DR1, DR2, DR3, DR4. But the thing is, we generally miss few things. What we did capacity planning, we did location, how much area is required, what capacity is required, what will be the cost, what will be the investment, that we do. But sometimes we lack in infrastructure development, in design and development of layout and basics. So if we will do our basics right, means we need to review our layout 10 times, we need to review our drain plan 10 times, we need to review our zoning infrastructure, we need to review our air inflow inside the plant, requirement inside the plant, whether air is moving from right zone, means from raw zone to ready zone, or ready zone to raw zone, those things we need to review. Whether we are putting right air filtration based on our product requirement. It is not like that we are putting everywhere filtration. So based on our product requirement, we are doing that. Where we are doing right man material movement. So if we will do these basics right, and we will work more on these things, then we can set up a right factory which will not impact our food safety. So in that terms, we can say that nowadays, or in modern food industries, maybe in future also, this engineering project infrastructure, that is not a engineering KPI. That is basically a food safety KPI. Because generally what we do, we sometimes feel that food safety is a job of our quality manager or food safety manager or a microbiologist or those things. But if we treat this like that, this food safety is a engineering KPI, if we will design the factory right, then these things will be controlled. So based on my experience, I can say, if we will design factory for these basics right, then we can easily control food safety, rather than if we are monitoring or analyzing food safety in our laboratories. So that is first thing. Second thing, we need to keep our machinery simple, advanced, in terms of operation, in terms of hygiene, in terms of sanitary design. So I'm giving you one very different example out of food industry. 20-25 years back, we all have seen that Bajaj Chetak LML was the scooter in the market. So that was era of scooters. Then what happened? This Honda collaborated with Hero in India, and then they launched motorcycle. Then entire market shifted towards motorcycle. Then what happened? Honda came with a scooter. And again, in the motorcycle market, they created turbulence, and again, people moved towards scooter. What happened? Other companies like Bajaj, LML, Mahindra, Hero, everybody launched a scooter. Still, nobody catched Honda scooter. So I was discussing with one of mechanic, then what is difference between other scooters and your Honda scooter? So he said very, very crude and very simple thing. Sir, this scooter, Honda Activa, which is the leading one of Honda, he has given example. It is so simple. You just remove one cover, whole engine is open, and it is very easy to maintain. Rather than any other scooter, if we are doing maintenance, so it is a lot more complex as compared to. So he understood what is the difference. So one thing, technology that was for a stroke, so those things, but even after doing other companies copying the things, this is going ahead, and it is still moving ahead. Same thing, what happened in terms of technology, initially when we launched Oreo in India in 2011, we were working on a sandwiching machine. And 3-4 years, we were working on the same kind of sandwiching machine. We have taken 2 machines, and machine was running good, product quality, and everybody was happy. Then we saw a machine in China. I visited China factory. We saw a machine that was based on my experience, and one of my more colleague was with me. So he told this machine is much more efficient as compared to our machine. So then what we did, we called that machine supplier that was from Italy. We called that and asked for quote, etc. So he has given cost of approximate 5 times higher whatever machine we were using. So I asked him that what is the difference in your machine? So he told, sir, my machine is very simple. So we have two things. One thing is my machine is 4 sigma plus. So it will give you benefit in terms of overpacking. So he has shown an Excel sheet that with this machine, whatever 5 times I am costing you, that you can recover within 2 years of time. I said, okay, what else? Then he told my machine is very easy to clean and maintain. So he has shown different things that these are the things you can, this is sanitary design, you can clean, you can do this thing. So then he told, we have also got, because we have supplied around 100 machines to Mondelez, and we have got lot of input from Mondelez in terms of sanitary design. Though we have supplied to other global colleagues also, and they have given, and on year, we have done certain improvements in terms of sanitary design. So that is one important thing. So design is simple, machine is more efficient, and it is easy to maintain by the operator. Operator need not to touch machine for hours, right? And then whenever we are doing cleaning, if other machine we need to clean in 4 hours, this machine we can clean in 2 hours only, or in 1 hour. Second thing, if in other machine we are doing 20 kg cream wastage in a cleaning, here only 2 kg, because it is not stacking. Then it is hygienic design. If product will not stuck somewhere, it is
to be faster.
maintaining qualities, etc. Then third thing, I will summarize, I will not take much time. So third thing, whatever technology we are taking, because now it is future of IoTs and all these things. In the initial session, people have told a lot of things, so I will not repeat those things. So whatever technology, then we need to take right skill set of people. So right skill set of people means whatever technology you are taking, you should get enough training to the team members, shop floor colleagues to maintain and sustain that. And then if you will set these things right, then whatever industry 4.0, data analytics, interlockage you can do, and there is a means lot of opportunity. And I think, as our Prime Minister Modi is saying, this is era of India. So in future, Indian food industry will grow like anything, and we are having plenty of opportunity. So that is my thinking, sir.
Thanks, Dheeraj. You're talking about 3 basics. Get the basic right, keep things simple, and ensure that capability is right at the top. Let me move to the manufacturing experience now. So, Mr. Upendra Singh, share your manufacturing experiences on how do you see technology advancements to improve on authenticity, traceability, and security in food?
Thank you, Navneet ji. The question is very relevant. Actually, in India, we are having a mindset for reactive testing till now. We are not monitoring real time, all the data, all the testing, we are not monitoring real time. So the advanced technology is shifting to real time monitoring right now. Data loggers has been replaced with the IoT-based time and temperature sensors with the GPS. If the truck moves sideways, it will take you the alarm, and it will tell you that the truck is not moving in your direction, and you can take action immediately. It was not like that in the old time, data loggers will be put in the containers, then the data logger will be taken out, data will be taken out. That is the postmortem of the things. So that has been stopped right now. I will take 2 or 3 examples of the current technology which is being used. IoT, blockchain, AI, everyone has talked about. So I will not go deep down in the IoTs, but I will take 2 or 3 examples. One is near infrared technologies, which is being used at the source point of time, which is being highly available in milk section. Milk collection center is using that handheld, simple, small, mobile size devices, near infrared technologies, which is being used to check the milk quality over there. Same is happening with edible oil testing also. Edible oil is also tested with near infrared technologies. Chromatography is also introduced into the system within the factories. That is gas also, liquid also, which will give an instant result also. One of my colleague from the previous company, we were discussing about honey test quality. So we were telling that they are using NMR to get the flora and fauna of the texture, which is being like if you are claiming that this is the honey from Sundarban. So how they are detecting is they are using NMR technologies in their flora and fauna testings. And DNA barcoding is started in agriculture for you can say agriculture in the organic ways. They are doing the DNA barcoding of the crops. If they are saying that this basmati is from the selective region, then they mean it. They do a DNA barcoding of that basmati and they test it in the lab with that DNA barcoding itself. The last, which I think IoT is active as our eyes and ears. So we have shifted from those barcodes to smart labels, smart sensors along with RFIDs and QR code. The recent example, we have a buyer in Korea, South Korea. They have ordered their namkeens with specific barcode, QR codes for every packet. They've generated that QR code. It is a kind of a birth certificate for that individual packet. Whatever is inside the packet, everyone can scan the QR code and get the detail of batch numbers and everything. So now the thing is, initially we as a manufacturing people, we have been known for cost effective and how fast we can make a batch. Now the resonance is shifted to how fast we can trace the raw material origin and raw material qualities or batch numbers. So the focus is really rapidly shifting to the advancement of the technologies. I think this real-time examples are good. QR code is, we are moving. RFIDs, we are moving. We are having smart sensors, like if anyone goes, these fruit forward are basically categorized into the two parts in the industries. One is vulnerability assessment and the second is threat assessment. So for those also inside the factory, we have sensors. If anyone go to the RO water tank and he tries to open the tank to adulterate something inside the factory, that sensor will blow up and that will tell that this is the unauthorized entry. So we have the emergency exits also, which is been having a sensors, alarms. If the emergency gate opens, the alarm will go to the office that emergency gate has been accessed unauthorizedly. The last sensors which we have is motion sensors. We are tracking the manpower attendance through the motion cameras. If any unauthorized person roaming in the plant, that motion sensor will tell that this person is not authorized, this is not on the company roll, or his face is not recognized by the sensors. So that alarm will go to the security person and security person will trace that person also. So advancement is getting huge right now in the food industry.
Thanks, Upendra. In fact, I completely resonate with your example of barcoding, where each and every packet is being identified like a birth certificate. In fact, in our organization also, we have used it very effectively as a concept of track and trace for all the critical ingredients. So there is no way you can miss it. And when the ingredient comes in, it gets tracked by the barcode. And then the position at where it is kept in the store, that also get coded. So it is complete series which is getting tracked and nothing gets missed out. So I'm resonating with many of your examples which you have said. Moving to a different area of discussion, let me move to Mr. Charanjeev Kohli. Where I am looking forward to get some insights from you on the analytical approaches. So my question is very specific. Referring to the detection of adulteration in value chain, what kind of controls will be required to arrest these issues in the upstream value chain?
Yeah, thanks, Navneet. Good evening, everybody. So when we talk about upstream, so within food industry, if we see, the upstream is three-layered. Layer one comes the farmer. Okay, so that's from where our upstream things start. And we say farm to fork. So that is the farm is the layer one. Second layer is the collection center, wheresoever he brings this produce. So that is the collection center where we aggregate. And third one is the bulk supply. That could be your direct supply to the factory, or that could be some of your supplier. Now, in these three layers, the controls are required accordingly. So what normal traditional thing for food with the context of food fraud, what we had been doing, the industry had been doing, that was always on the bulk supply that you detect and then you either accept or reject. So this is something which is not working because there is something which is dilution effect. If one of the farmers is doing something, you will never come to know at the batch level. Now what is required is, first and foremost which is required is anticipation. Anticipate that what can go wrong, and it is not a rocket science. There could be some commodity prices. Say for example, if you are sourcing spices, if cardamom's cost is going up, cardamom spices are, their prices are going up in the market, you can anticipate that adulteration can start over there. And what people can adulterate, so accordingly you do. And one side is testing, second side is engagement of farmers. Because from heart, nobody want to do harm to other person. With their engagement, be it chemicals, be it on foreign body, be it some substitution for the other things. So their engagement helps a lot. Okay, so then if you connect with them, the consumer, it helps quite a lot. So that is engagement. Second, what is required is that rapid test in the farm level. Okay, so once you anticipate that what, and you should have again along with that what we say market intelligence. Okay, so get from your own sources what people are thinking, what is being used, and accordingly you develop your test methods. Now test method is something which is very important, that rapid test methods are required which can be applied in the field. Okay, so their detection limit can be wider because you are looking at the certain fish, one fish in a pond, there are not many fishes. Okay, so that is a particular bad apple you are trying to get in a small bucket. Okay, so thereafter, once you get the batch level, and you might not be able to catch everything over there, in the batch level your methods has to be very precise. To give you a context, if you are getting something, say for example at ppm level in the field, so in your batch level at the point of getting the material, it should be at ppb level. So that is where anticipation, engagement, deterrence through field testing, so and I would say your monitoring with high precision method at your level, so that's how you can control the upstream value chain. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Kohli. I won't summarize because you've already summarized your own content at the end. So thanks, and I'm quickly moving to our next presenter, Ranjeet Kaur. So I know you have been in the space of regulatory and scientific affairs for a long, long time. So my question to you will be in that space. What are the key challenges, risks, and watch out for organizations when relying on AI and digital tools for food safety and compliance decision making? Compliance being the watchword.
Okay. So I think fraud or food fraud is not just linked to adulteration, but it is also linked to the claims which you are making on the pack, the declarations which you are writing, the certifications or the logos which are being put on the pack, right? So I think that's how the scope of food fraud is increasing. So in order to cascade in terms of like control on it by using of the tools to change from reactive to a proactive approach. So what we have done is, as you said up at the supplier, the track and trace. So in addition to that, there is also tools being used in order to track the certification of those. If there is anything in terms of like recall or the tests which are available, has there been any incidences where that particular supplier has got out of the range? So this is another build, like from a compliance end, we are trying to put that across. And when it comes to checking of use of these ingredients in a particular category where like, you need to check the additive limits, there also AI is helping us in terms of adding to the efficiency, because when your product is across, not only just India, across the market, then you use these tools in order to understand that where all it will be and which all category will it fall. Then comes the label part. In terms of like, there are certain mandate requirements which comes related to font size, the placement of the logo, which is there in terms of the nutrient declaration, which is put on the pack. So thereon also there are some efficient systems which has been built up so that these checkpoints which are not changing on a very frequent basis is being put across, so that efficiency adds further to it. And then comes like label review or validation. So we have put in certain checks wherein like if there is something missing in terms of the information or the batch code which is there, it can be really highlighted before it goes into production in terms of the artwork which is there. So all these stages, definitely AI is helping, or even the digital tool is enabling in terms of efficiency, time management. Of course, like the manual interventions are getting reduced. But as every coin has two sides, so is the digital part and the AI part. Because I think regulatory is more also on interpretation and the contextual judgment which should be there, right? So even though you're using for efficiency, because I think in terms of tools and AI, it is more source dependent. The time you put information, and in the regulatory space, you have everything getting updated on a very regular or a frequent basis. So you need to keep a close track that what is going in the system is quite updated one, and the interpretation which is there is mentioned. Because ultimately, if your label is non-compliant or if there is a food fraud, it will not be, you can't blame the system or the AI that, okay, you give him the notice and the AI will be responsible for filing the fees. So I think it's like ultimately we are the ones responsible in terms of as a brand owner or as a manufacturer for that particular compliance. So I think AI or the tools should be used not only just as operational tool, but they should be like strategic enabler, wherein you use the system just to build an efficiency, reduce manual intervention, but also keep a human touch on this, right? Wherein you can have a manual intervention of an expert. Like, we have our labels wherein definitely it goes through a manual check of an expert. There are certain audits which has been built up in the system that at a regular interval of time, even though you are reviewing everything from a compliance point through the system, but there is audits which are done in order to like increase and prevent you from future part of it. So I think this is where we are trying to build up the ecosystem wherein we get ready, but definitely the ownership and the responsibility is something which relies with us. So this is how I think efficiently we are using those systems.
So very clear that while we have to progress on AI and digitalization, the discretion cannot be put into the dustbin. Thank you so much. Mr. Manav Malhotra, now you have been in the space of bakery for so many years. Can you share something about the new technology, how it is helping the Indian food industry shifting from reactive to predictive categories? Especially if you can bring some ideas and examples from bakery industry.
Certainly. Thank you so much. So coming from a bakery and bakery industry and previously in a milk, so I'll touch based on some numbers per se. So these are the two categories which are widespread, and we do understand about the milk per se, the adulteration in the milk. So overall, FSI pulled up samples and almost like 30% of the samples were adulterated, what they have tested last year. In terms of the country or the state per se, it's primarily Punjab, that's 47%, and followed by UP. Almost like 60% of the milk samples being failed when they actually tested, which is a high concern for all of us. Coming back on your question on the bakery per se, it's primarily
Actually, I've been equally happy both dairy and bakery.
Yeah.
So you can expand.
So coming on bakery per se specifically, I think wheat flour is one of a common ingredient. We have seen wheat flour, cocoa, fat as one of a common wherein prices have escalated like anything in the last couple of years. Wherein food fraud with respect to replacement of a cocoa, either it's a fat or a oil, wherein it's a palm or a palm stearin being adulterated, or even when we talk about wheat flour, which is completely a fragmented vendor base out of India, wherein have the quality of the wheat flour is extremely poor. So what they primarily do is, and we have identified in our test as well, the quantity of the gluten is fine. It's like 9, 10, 11, whatever you want. But the quality of the gluten is poorly. So we do have extremely poor quality of wheat flour. So they buy a poor quality wheat flour, they top up with some poor quality gluten to match the numbers. But ultimately, when it comes to our testing on a shop floor, the dough consistency doesn't come. So the bread doesn't proof, or the oven jump doesn't come in. So hence, it is important, it's not only the quantity of the ingredient or the parameters, equally the quality. So the rheological properties of the wheat flour is equally important. One of my fellow colleagues did talk about the claims per se. So when we talk about claims per se, I think you must have seen a lot of breads available wherein they are claiming these are organic, these are gluten-free breads. So I myself have been looking around where we can manufacture gluten-free breads. I've visited almost like 10, 12 co-manufacturers, but none of them. They use the same line, hardly they do a changeover, but they do claim it. However, in terms of the end consumers, it still be classified as a food fraud because you're actually not giving the right product to a consumer. It still may contain gluten, which is actually for a gluten-free bread. Coming on the proactive approach, when we have to put across, I divide primarily into three segments, what we can do immediately in a short term and a long term, both from an organizational point of view and also I think it's equally important that regulatory or FFSI should step in and to ensure that we are on the right direction. So on a short term per se, couple of things which we need to do is I think rapid testing is one which is important and critical. Apart from digital supplier scorecards, which we can actually build in our organization, which we are actually doing it. This is what we are doing as an organization. So I'm just putting across those things. The third thing which we actually need to put across is primarily the high-risk vendors, wherein the risk is pretty high. So hence, we need to categorize those and have a specific surveillance plan for those high-risk ingredients. Coming on a medium term, I think my fellow do talk about blockchain. So blockchain is one which will help us in tracing out the ingredients. And second is basically on our AI with respect to our AI vision system in our factories. So we do have AI vision systems in our factory wherein the process is controlled through AI. So AI detects it and controls the process. For example, if the proofing is not going in a right way, so system detects it and it increases or decreases the temperature or a humidity. So those are getting built up. Similarly, on a long term, it's primarily, I think, FFSI has to step in wherein we need to have a fingerprinting of our key ingredients, what we have. And also on our AI supply chain, wherein it will help as an organization and also as an India, as a country, wherein we all can collaborate and move forward. Thank you.
Thanks. Since we are really running short of time, Sanket, a very quick question to you. That how does identification of adulterants go beyond specified ones in the regulations? And I'm really, will have to request you to really shorten as much as you can, but still convey the key message.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll just summarize all those things because what I was supposed to speak is like already collaborated and said by everyone. So what we usually do with us is that we to use the track and trace model. But in track and trace model, what we usually do, we used to collect data from we can have access to the data from the certification agencies as well as the implementation agencies who are bringing the sourcing to the factories. Because we think the most of the problem relies on the sourcing which is coming to the factories. So when both of the data is like collaborated together and the inferential statistics suggest where the sourcing is coming from, whether it is coming, we do look for the geographical locations, whether the seasonal sourcing is coming for, or whether the supply chain is like well maintained or not, whether there is chain of custody of the produce which is coming to the factory, or whether the supply behavior, whatever the supply is coming, if it is like consistent, or maybe it is like irregular, looking at the data what is coming from the government or the vicinity, or whatever the failed batches has come to the factory and which has like negated by the certification agencies or have not accepted. All those things we used to collaborate, and then according to that our data shows whether the supplier which is supplying to the factory or something is a red supplier, yellow supplier or green supplier. So that is the first step, how those things can be looked after. And this is how usually the data is processed. So in short, I'll just conclude here because we don't have time. I just consider that. So the solution I say to reduce or look after or curb the adulteration is that when certification bodies, laboratories, also the regulations which is by the government and the technology expert and supply chains are well defined and collaborating together, I think that is the biggest scope where we can reduce the food adulteration in the bigger scope. So I think, yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Sanket. And being the moderator, I have to take responsibility to manage the time. So I will not go ahead with my part of the discussion, but a lot of that has already been covered. If the organizers can allow a couple of questions from the audience, otherwise our session is over.
Thank you. Thank you very much to our moderator and to our panelists for sharing their insights with us. May I now request Mr. Abhinav Das from Mitsubishi Electric to kindly felicitate our panelists and moderator. Can we have a big round of applause for Mr. Abhinav Das? He's a National Sales Manager, Life Science, F&B, FMCG, Factory Automation and Industrial Division. May I request you, sir, to please felicitate Ms. Ranjeet Kaur, Head Scientific and Regulatory Affairs, Mars Wrigley. Requesting you, sir, to kindly felicitate Mr. Manav Malhotra, Head Quality and Regulatory, Bimbo Bakeries, India. Next, Mr. Upendra Singh, Senior GM Operations, Bikanerwala Foods. Dr. Neelu Khurana, Head QA and Regulatory, Haldiram Snacks Food. Next we have Dr. Dheeraj Mishra, Projects and Engineering Lead, India EM, Mondelez India Foods. Next may I request you to kindly felicitate Mr. Charanjeev Singh, Head of Consumer Quality, Nestle India. Next we have Mr. Sanket Wagmare, Program Manager, Sustainable Sourcing and Sustainability Services, Peterson Solutions, India. Requesting you to kindly felicitate our moderator of the session, Mr. Navneet Mehta, Director, QSE, Kandhari Group, Coca-Cola India FBO. It's time to have a group picture. Requesting you, sir, to please join us with our panel for the picture. A huge round of applause for our distinguished panel, our moderator, and to our felicitator. Thank you so much.